What's up, guys? It's Steve from GameSmart, back with another TFT VOD review. If you've been liking the channel, please remember to like and subscribe. Today we're going to be looking at a Slayers game of mine from the Diamond 3 ELO. Slayers is a comp that's been around for quite a while, and the most popular Slayers composition right now is actually the 3 Dragon Soul, 3 Slayer comp. Game plan's pretty easy. Play your strongest board until around 7 or 8. While gathering all the AAD items you can, GA, Runans, Hodge, all of these items, and then slapping them onto your Slayers later on in the game. So this VOD's actually the 6 Slayer variation, but it's pretty much the same game plan. Here we are in the VOD review. We actually start with a coin start, which is one of my favorite ways to start the game. Just gives us a lot more flexibility, and here we're able to buy up first of all the Brawler Maokai, as well as the rest of the units in our shop, because we're not quite able to hit that 10 gold econ threshold. So instead we're gonna play a bit flexibly. So the reason I pick up this Brawler Maokai is because in my recent games I have been getting really burned by being greedy and really picky about my first chosen. So I've decided in my current games that I'm just going to play one of the first 2 chosens given to me, if it's not super trash. So yeah, I do pick up the Brawler chosen, and now I'm thinking about how I'm going to get some backline support or backline damage. So right now I'm thinking the duelists are a good way to do that. Sharpshooters would be good as well as picking up some additional brawlers just to get myself a strong early game composition. So we know that we're going to be playing Slayers later in this game, but Slayers is not an early game build. It's more something that you play in the mid to late game. So rounds 2 and 3, we're definitely not going to be playing Slayers, guys. Spoiler alert, but that shouldn't be news. We're able to pick up the Teemo here and get the sharpshooters in as well with the Tom. So like I said, this is a pretty standard early game composition of sharpshooters for damage and either brawlers or vanguards for your backline. For your front line. And this gives us a pretty strong team, but we're not actually able to take down that Yuumi. Actually did a lot of work there, and at 2-2 we're able to pick up a Sivir though, and yeah, pretty happy with how we're able to get an early composition out there. At the carousel we are looking for the sword is actually probably the best item that we're able to get here. We do miss up the sword, and instead we take the Morello. So another issue I'm making is I'm not deciding which item I want prior to hitting the carousel round, and that's definitely reflected there in not getting the sword. But my idea here was that since I'm playing brawlers early game, I want to slam a Sunfire on my Maokai here, get some value. If you're playing brawlers, a Sunfire is definitely a good item to have, and yeah, at this point I'm still thinking I might play brawlers, who knows, all the way, if the shops decide to keep showing them to me, but they don't. I do pick up a Callista here, and I'm thinking about putting the Callista in, but sharpshooters is actually more valuable still, and I'm thinking maybe I would go cultists or something, get cultists into this opener, but decide instead I'm probably better off winning this round and then selling it down for 20 econ. So yeah, we are out of this round and continuing to play a pretty strong board with these brawlers. 4 brawlers early is a pretty free mid game, guys. That's why brawlers is so popular, is that you get 4 to 6 brawlers out there, and they're just gonna win. Yeah, this is my experience where I've probably chopped out a bit too much of the gameplay, but let me know down in the comments below, guys, if this is just way too much, if this is way too quick. The real idea is that I'm going to be cutting out all the dead time in the shops. Basically anytime I'm not clicking, going to be cutting that out. I'm still going to be showing a lot of the later rounds where I'm making more of my decision making, but I'm just trying to get us there quicker without making 40-minute videos. So here we are at the Wolves, and this is a pretty huge hit as far as items go. We get a sword, a bow, a giant spelt, a chain, and a rod. We get 5 components from those wolves, so that's a absolute big win, and we want to get these components utilized as much as we can. So we actually see that we have perfect Olaf items after that. We throw down the GA, the Runans, and the Deathblade, and we are full bore into thinking about going Slayers now. We see a few Dariuses in our shop. We're super stoked because we have a game plan. It's only 4-1, and we've got a game plan for what we're going to do. So usually on 4-1, you want to roll down a bit to get a stronger board. This board is not really going to cut it for round 4. During round 3, it was fine, but I think I'm playing against a Cultist 6 player here, which is definitely scary, and they make short work of my entire team, despite the fact that I finally slammed those items, and I should be experiencing a bit of a power spike. The reality is my board is just in a bit of a messy situation. So hopefully I roll down here a bit to stabilize, because otherwise I think I'm just going to keep bleeding out. So I like to throw Slayers in, it looks like. Oh no, I'm going for Cultist. Yeah, Cultist Slayer thrown in there, which is a lot stronger a board than I had a second ago. But I don't think that this is going to put me in position to win this round still. Let's see, against a 3-star Yasuo, no, can't really expect that. This 3-star Yasuo with Hodge, QSS, GA. Some people call that perfect item. Some people prefer the Hodge to be an IE. Yeah, he definitely makes us feel the Yasuo 3-star effect there. And we are continuing to try and get scrappy and roll down a little bit. And we actually decide to take this Zed Chosen and make him our item holder rather than this Callista. And this is the play that probably saves this game from being a bot 4. So it's really important to think about who your item holders are, especially if you've got good items out here. Like I have quote-unquote perfect Slayer items, but I wasn't getting a ton of value out of them on the level 1 Callista. If it had been a 2 Callista, level 2 Callista, that board would have been a lot more stable. But yeah, at that point, making the switch over to the Zed was the right play as I continue to try and stabilize my board and search for these Slayers. The 2-star Sivir helps a little bit, and going up to level 8 here early at 4-5 doesn't make a ton of sense. I was able to grab this Samira off of the last carousel, which basically because I'm hard forcing Slayers at this point, but it's a little janky to go fast 8 here and have absolutely no econ just to get the Samira in. But like I said, I'm playing this from not a position of comfort, so I'm just trying to stabilize my board as quickly as possible, and I know that I haven't done that yet. So here we are, just basically deciding that since we can't have 6 Slayers, it's better to at least have a Vanguard front. Pretty common to run Vanguard or Adept frontline for your Slayers. Like Slayers, despite being melee champs predominantly, are not tanks, so you definitely want to be running them alongside some tanks. In this case, we're electing to throw some Vanguards down for now. Bit of money off of the Raptors is actually very welcome, considering we already went to level 8 prematurely, so that was a mistake. Going to 8 there was a mistake, I believe, even though it let us like win streak a little bit. I think that we probably could have figured out our board without pushing that econ. Rolling the Tryndamere here is really good, though, because it does let us put in 6 Slayers, so at this point we're finally selling off this Teemo with the Hodge, which we probably should have sold earlier. Like, as soon as we threw in our, like, probably the play rather than going level 8 there would have been selling the Teemo, putting him in instead, because it would have had Slayer plus Sharpshooter would have still been active, instead of running 3 Sharpshooters there for a couple rounds. Finally find the Sejuani here. Improves our board slightly, but yeah, we're definitely in a tight position, and we've been rolling pretty aggressively for Olaf, and we have not found it. So we are finding board improvements, but not the ones that are actually going to stabilize our board. So despite not finding the Olaf there, I decide I finally need to make the decision. I swap over the items from the Zed, using that Magnet Remover, onto the Tryndamere, and then I narrowly 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 missed the shroud there on carousel, which would have been a pretty big pickup for me. But hey, when we're last pick on the carousel, we don't really get what we want that often. Finally find a Z 2-star. Well, actually that doesn't do us any good. Well, we sell our Z Chosen. I guess it does that for us, as well as that Olaf, and we put in the natural 6 Slayers without the Chosen. And at this point, the competition is getting pretty fierce. We still have everybody in. There are all 8 players still in the lobby at 5-5. This is pretty rare, I would say. It just goes to show how tight everything is. It's really when they call it auto chess, or like when they refer to auto battlers as auto chess, I think what that really is referring to is the fact that everything is balanced and you can't take an advantage without exposing a weakness. So whether you're taking advantage in the early game by win streaking and you generate extra health and save life, then you don't get perfect items in the late games. Like, everything is balanced. Every decision you make has a real consequence. And yeah, it's a really rewarding game in that sense. So finding the Lee Sin here is definitely helpful. Definitely was thinking about picking up this Cultist Chosen Callista just to do something. If I would have seen this a few rounds ago, it definitely would have continued to hold my items, because Callista 2 is just quite strong. But I don't think it's really going to fit into my board at this point, and yeah, I leave it there and choose to roll down quite aggressively during the minion round. I realize I'm not going to make it to level 9. I've got maybe two losses left in me. So I really need to roll down and make a play for this top 4. Unfortunately, not finding a lot of board improvements. The Sejuani 2-star is quite nice for my front line, but the reality is I'm not really able to find the Tryndamere and the Olaf 2-star that I'm looking for. I actually do come across finally the chosen Tryndamere, sell off my other Tryndamere, get the item swapped over. That is a bit of a power spike and definitely helpful, but it's without the Olaf 2-star. I was really intending to put all of these items onto the Olaf, actually. I'm not sure if one is particularly better than the other. I believe the Olaf is the stronger of the 2 carries. Get down below at me in the comments if you've got some substantial knowledge on the subject, and also get back at me at whether you guys enjoyed this shorter video format. It's definitely going to take a lot of getting used to, both on the editing side as well as the VOD review side, because I'm watching the edited version, and in this one I was bouncing around a bit more than I would have liked. Anyways, we should be selling off the Lee Sins, we should be selling off the extra Aatrox and rolling for our 3-star Olaf, or sorry, our 2-star Olaf. But honestly, we weren't expecting to get manhandled so hard by this guy's duelist board, and he does send us out a little bit sooner than we would have expected. That's all for today. Thank you guys for watching so much. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to stay up to date. Yeah, we'll see you next time.